Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video. This time talking about Bitcoin, and there's a big story that is breaking here. That is something that could actually, really start to propel Bitcoin even further forward. But first, we can look at the stock to flow model. This is obviously Plan B's uh, model here, and him talking about July closing price 41,490. It bounced from the lows like clockwork. So there was talks of when this started breaking down, if it continued down, it was on like the outer bound here. Around when it was the 20,000s, in that like 28,000, 29,000 was the outer bound of this stock to flow model. And a lot of people were talking that if it broke through this outer bound, that this whole model would be invalidated and wouldn't matter, which doesn't make too much sense because up in these two, it broke to the upside, but it's not invalidated. So, I mean, it can break up but not down. It doesn't make too much sense, but we saw the bounce and we see this starting to tick back up. And this is where this was 2017, this bull run here. And you can see just kind of it's a constant move up. That's what people aren't comparing this bull run to, comparing it to 2013, where you see this huge run up and then a pullback, and then it ran up again before it pulled back to like this mean here. So that's what people are thinking that we might see with Bitcoin here right now, is doing what it did in 2013, where we had this run up and then a pullback, and then it's going to do another run up before it gets back to like this mean here of about $100,000 is on this stock to flow chart. On the stock to flow X model, it's $288,000. So, but you can see it's a lot more similar to 2013 than it is to 2017, and that's obvious with just even this dip here. Like they look very similar, and then we may see it start to take off, and everybody knows that between the months of July and December is when Bitcoin performs the best in historically with bull markets and stuff. So we could see this massive run up in price to a six-figure Bitcoin before the end of the year, or transition to this super cycle theory, which is where instead of it can either blow up to $1 million of Bitcoin and have a super cycle and everyone adopts it, or we break away from these cycles, and instead of going from now go to 300,000 back down to 80 and then have these big corrections, it's just going to be like a steady move upward with obviously correction along the way. We saw one from 60 to 30. That was obviously a big correction. But we're not going to see like those 80% drops where it pops up and then falls back down. That's another super cycle, like getting rid of the bear market almost. And all the bears on Bitcoin who were screaming for $24,000, $20,000 Bitcoin have all gone silent, and some of them are even talking about saying the whales are selling, these people aren't, when whales don't control Bitcoin, as anyone with a brain could tell you. But they refuse to show this chart for some reason, which is the supply shock ratio, compares blah blah overall circulating supply, and then get a quantitative view of supply availability, and then the illiquid supply ratio is more qualitative view. Looks like this bull divergence is finally starting to get priced in, and you can see from this chart itself, it's they refuse to show that. Any bears don't show this chart. This is illiquid Bitcoin supply, so meaning coins that are in strong hands that aren't going to be sold easily, and things like that. So we see this huge run up in the illiquid supply follows this huge run up in price, and obviously the illiquid supply drops, the price drops, but now we're seeing it explode again, and it's at new all-time highs. So getting Bitcoin is going to be harder because the illiquid supply is at new all-time highs, and you see the price starting to follow suit. So we could see the price start to be priced in where there's illiquid supply, because supply and demand, there's not enough supply, too much demand, the price has to go up. And the big news for Bitcoin today is one of the trillion-dollar companies is looking to get involved, and it's one that I don't think people actually really know about, because it's not an American company and stuff. It's an oil refinery, oil mining company, stuff like that. And they are looking into getting into Bitcoin mining, looking to mine Bitcoin with flared gas. So it's flared gas, just a waste of energy, and they could put that energy to work by mining Bitcoin. and it is almost a $2 trillion company. So that is, I think that would make it actually the third largest company in the world, because Microsoft's over 2 trillion. So, but still, a top 3 company in the world is looking to get involved with Bitcoin. This little passage here talks about, investing.com, state of the Middle East oil company is interested in mining Bitcoin, citing information provided by Brazilian Bitcoin miner Ray Nasir. And then their quote here saying, "We are negotiating with Armaco," that's the company, "all black liquid oil that comes out of the desert belongs to this company. All the flared gas they're not using, and that's public information. I can tell you it's not enough. It's enough to power up half of the Bitcoin network today from this company alone." So saying that from this company alone, they have so much flared gas, and they get so much oil that makes the flared gas, that they could power up the Bitcoin network half of it, which would mean they could power half the network, like saying the energy and stuff it uses, which in terms would mean that it would almost double the power of Bitcoin, and the mining, the hash rate would go up. All of these things would start to go up, and Bitcoin would follow suit. Bitcoin really follows its hash rate, so if the hash rate starts to skyrocket with them getting involved, then the price should follow, because it's very connected. I mean, we can see right here, this is the total hash rate. You can see this is when all the China FUD started, and China miners getting kicked out around this peak and this peak. And then we saw it plummet, and this matched up with the plummet in price as well. And now we're seeing the reversal here, and it starts to go up, and it's ticking up, and it's back over that 100 terahashes, and that's a big measurement. So right now we could see the price follow this hash rate increase, and we want to get the hash rate to start making new all-time highs again, and I think that will lead to Bitcoin making new all-time highs. But as well, we could hit new all-time highs in prices before this, but this is a good indicator of showing like the network recovering, the hash rate recovering, and not really this FUD kind of dying down. And then the final thing to just kind of bring up and end this video with is going to be talking about this right here. It says, "The wealthy want your Bitcoin. What are you going to do? Sell your BTC for pennies, or be patient and accumulate more for a life-changing future? The rich will always try and shake the greedy down. Dollar cost average your positions. We're in early. This is our opportunity." And talking about like big players want your Bitcoin. And that makes a ton of sense. They obviously, people who think Bitcoin's valuable want to get it at the cheapest price that they can. And I would say even right now, Bitcoin's exploding, the media and everyone knows Bitcoin and the name Bitcoin. But I would say like less than 1% of people actually understand Bitcoin and actually know what its purpose is, what its use is, and how important it actually is as an asset. So even people who are involved in Bitcoin, who own Bitcoin, a small percentage of those people actually know what Bitcoin is and what it can do. And, a bunch of people are just in it for money, just to make a bunch of money. And, that just shows how early we are in Bitcoin's tech, that people still don't understand it, and even at $40,000 a Bitcoin, it is still dirt cheap. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Just a little kind of recap on Bitcoin. A lot of big news, and the first trillion-dollar company really getting involved and being a top 3 company, valuable company in the world. I mean, they can really push this Bitcoin hash rate and Bitcoin mining forward for the rest of everybody else. So we'll see what happens, and see if more trillion-dollar companies decide to get involved, like Apple and Amazon and Microsoft. We're waiting for those guys. And as always, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.